Okay, guys, no fancy intro. Filming from a hotel again. I'm nonstop out of town. This is the only chance I get to record videos for you guys. I'm in Fredericksburg right now on a mission of about 14 straight days of out of town. It's about to get crazy, but that's the point of this video. I'm going to a few shows. I'm going to Toronto, then I'm going to go to New York for a day, not for the New York show, but then on my way to Warsaw, and then I come back and go to Capital Audio Fest shortly afterward. And what this video is today is a preview of Capital Audio Fest. It's a Zoom I did with Gary Gill. It's one of the best shows of the year. Best shows, obviously, in the U.S. coming up. These other shows are fantastic, but one's in Canada, one's in Warsaw, and then U.S. So no matter where you are, you should be able to have a great show upcoming. And the reason I wanted to give this little preview is Gary's going to tell you about the show and what's new this year, and even some new products that people are releasing. That's what's fun about these shows, seeing people's newest stuff. So you're going to get a little bit of a tidbit there. I've got more from this Zoom to release to you, and I'll do it in increments, but also wanted to tell you a couple other things. Toronto, it's too late for me to do this, but I'm offering this to any exhibitor that I know it's been a tough year. If you, before these shows, you want to do a Zoom with me to preview what you're doing for Capital Audio Fest, New York, even Warsaw, there's so little time left. I'll try to fit you in, but I'm offering that to any exhibitors at these upcoming shows, especially Capital Audio Fest, where we have a little more time to schedule this. Not enough time to do it for Toronto, but that's an awesome show. Make sure you come see me if you're going to be at the Toronto show. I know Angela Gilbert Young, who I've been working with a lot, sending them quite a bit of business on those power conditioners. You ought to look into getting one. Check out my video on that. He's going to be at the show, and he just told me he's going to be there on Saturday. Very rare to see him at the shows. You're going to see Val from Acora. You're going to see a new speaker from the guys at Gershman. You got to see this one. So that one is a phenomenal show. Looking forward to that one. Warsaw is going to be my first show ever there. And it's going to be the first show where you see the Potpourri Vitorla. The production model is ready. And my review of I had the beta prototype one this whole 9 months now. I'm ready to release that review. Look for that coming out maybe next week. It's pretty much finished, but I'm going to time it right before Warsaw. Make sure you check that out. And then Capital Audio Fest, Vitorla is coming back into the States, and the one that's at Warsaw, hopefully will make it back in time, and it'll be at Capital Audio Fest. And lots of new things at Capital Audio Fest just in the Potpourri room. You're going to hear about a few of them in this Zoom with Gary Gill, but he also has a few other ones, and I share a few other ones I know too. Enjoy, guys.
Definitely want to thank you for joining. Super excited for this year's Capital Audio Fest. It's growing more and more each year. So maybe we should start off by the basic stats and dates and all the basics that people need to know if they haven't booked.
Yeah, I think we're going to be almost the same size as we were last year, maybe slightly smaller, but we've also grown in some respects. We have more booths than last year, more booth vendors. Right now we're at 117 rooms. Last year we ended up with 125 rooms. I got 2 large rooms right across the street at the Even Hotel. So I've got Dreamscape coming over there. They're taking actually 6 rooms. So we're going to have a huge home theater / video presence, which is new to Capital Audio Fest.
That's
and then
cool.
Also in the other room at the Even, it's kind of going to be a fun room, beer drinking, cheese eating. It's the Magnapan / soda room.
Oh, wow.
Soda turntable, and they call it the Minneconsin room. So
Okay.
Because one being from Minnesota
Wisconsin.
and one from Wisconsin.
Okay. All right.
So,
cool.
Yeah. So it's literally right across the street.
Well, so many people stay at that hotel that they should get plenty of traffic. I know I stayed there last year. So
yeah, and in fact, both hotels are completely sold out. All the sleeping rooms are gone, both of them. The Hilton Hotel completely sold out in like 1 or 2 days. Once I opened it to the public, it was gone. And then Even it sold out, I think, last week. So now we're pushing people to the Best Western, which is about a mile away.
Yeah, and some people do Airbnbs and go as a
Yeah,
group.
I've heard
That's
that.
kind of fun. And yeah, there's some nice areas around there you could stay.
Right,
Not too far of an Uber.
right,
So yeah. And there's actually pretty good food and nightlife around there. People don't think of Rockville, Maryland. Obviously, you can go all the way into DC if you want at
right.
night, but there's still some cool places around
Oh,
there.
there's great Asian restaurants, and they open up a huge. There's a really big grocery store chain that opened up on the same block. It's called Wegmans.
Mm.
I mean, to regionally and Northeast folks, it's a Northeast like a monster gourmet grocery store, and they have restaurants inside and coffee shops, bakeries, pizza place, etc. It's huge. But I mean, our restaurants in that area are great, and you can walk to the metro also right behind the hotel if you really want to go downtown.
Downtown real easy.
Very
There's even a
accessible.
barbecue place that I found legit being from Texas.
Ah,
It's right
wow.
down the street, maybe a little bit too far to walk, but yeah, 5 minutes.
Uh,
And we've gone now 2 years in a row because it's been so good. Yeah, definitely lots to do. Now you also have part of the day show usually ends at what time each day? 6?
we're starting at Friday and Saturday are 10 to 6,
Okay.
and Sunday is 10 to 4.
Okay. And then you have usually in the bar area some nightlife and
Oh
some
yeah,
bands. You have that same thing this year?
definitely. Friday night, we have a regional, actually, it's a nationally known blues band called the Nighthawks.
Okay.
So dirty local blues band. Mark Wenner's a amazing harmonica player, great vocals, so that'll be fun in the bar. And then then Saturday night is a Baltimore-based. Well, I'll say it's more of a Django Reinhardt acoustic instrument, two guitars, stand-up bass, and then a violin, maybe even a bandolin, and that's on Saturday night, all acoustic, Django Reinhardt based, and called Ultra Faux, Ultra Faux, and they do all kinds of uh, uh, music and concerts in the Northeast. So it's going to be fun also.
Yeah, I've always been impressed by whoever you've got at that. It's
Thank you.
worth just hanging out in the bar.
Right.
We'll come back from dinner, hear something really good in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
And then your show is well known for after hours in
Oh,
the actual rooms
oh
themselves.
yeah,
They will
yeah.
go to midnight plus in
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of those rooms. So I assume that's going to be standard practice again this year for most
Of course, of course. I mean, many different people have after hours parties, and I've already got wind of several of them. I mean, last year I had to walk around and make sure that things were okay. People weren't getting crazy in the hallways, etc. But nonetheless,
I plead
it turned out
innocence.
well. Yeah, exactly.
Well, another thing I think unique about your show, other than the massive attendance, it's now one of the premier shows
Thank
without
you.
question in the country. And I go to all of them, so I can benchmark
Right,
that pretty good. But
right.
you have a really good vendor area for, non-demo rooms. The vendor area in the atrium is extremely good because people don't have to go to an off-site area, away from everything else to
Right,
see these vendors. And a lot of these vendors are really good. And then
right.
mixed within those vendors, like the Genesis room and
Yep,
some other ones are down there.
yep,
Legacy Audio usually is in a big conference room. You don't want to miss that
right.
down there.
Yep,
JR Boss Claire with Wally Tools, the list goes on and on. Norman Varney. There's really good vendors down there where a lot of people have their gear sorted or they don't have the budget maybe to buy new gear,
uh-huh.
but some of these accessories make a difference. You learn
Sure,
about the difference they make,
sure.
and they're much more affordable. And a lot of times there's show specials with these. So
Yeah,
don't
they
miss
do.
going to that's one of the things I definitely recommend. And actually, Mako was a speaker I saw 2 years ago
Uh-huh.
in the vendor area just
Right,
from probably wouldn't have noticed it otherwise. But walking around the hotel rooms upstairs, you can look down. They had a
right,
static display
right,
of their speaker before they
right.
actually released it. And I got, paired up with them to be a demo them both in
Sure.
Toronto after that, because I never would have known of them otherwise, probably, if not for
Right.
your show.
Right. Yeah. Matter of fact, there's I don't know if you're at all a vintage guy, but there's an old amplification company that's coming back on the scene. It's called Pilot Radio.
Yes.
Yeah. So
They were in Dallas.
coming
Yeah.
back. And so they've got a booth, and I think they're introducing an amplifier. They have a preamplifier. So they're hoping to make a splash here. But it's interesting to have some of these brands from a blast from the past to come back on the scene. So we'll see what happens there.
I did a preview video for them before Dallas last year.
Okay.
Well, not even a year ago, in
Right.
March. And yeah, it was very intriguing. And that was his first show back. But yeah, the history
Right.
of that company goes back quite a ways.
Way back.
And he was just getting started. I mean, I think he wasn't even fully ready for a show, but now he should be really ready
Right.
to demo stuff. So that's really cool that he's going to be there. And again, this is one of those shows that everybody who's somebody from press to exhibitors is going to be there. It's pretty much a required show. So kudos to you for doing that. And then on parlaying into what I did for Dallas, which is also a show you run, is I did do before the shows some previews of different exhibitors that are going to be there, to kind of give a chance for these people to tell you ahead of time, so you're not just going in blind and wondering, what is XYZ showing.
Right.
So I'm happy to do that again for any exhibitors watching this. If you want to schedule a Zoom with me prior to Capital Audio Fest, and if you want to do an email to everybody, I'm happy to. My schedule is pretty booked, but I'll try to find time at night to do these little Zooms, because I think it's very important for people to get, number one, excited about it, because there's a lot to get excited about, but also be able to manage their time better so that they're not neurotic and have FOMO. You can have some knowledge of which ones you want to go and take a look at. Are you aware of anything major being debuted at the show this year?
I just put out a request for people to send me press releases, so I'm starting to load them on the news page.
I do have one exclusive for you.
What's that?
I know you're a Potpourri owner. I've been talking to Potpourri because I have the first model, or they call them the Vitorlas now, previously called the Hypersail. I had the only model in America. However, you're going to have the first production model, and it's going to be a little bit different. You had the first one in Dallas, the one I have in my house, but the final production model has been amped up even more. I don't want to spoil it, but you're going to have it at the Capital Audio Fest, fingers crossed.
Wow.
You're going to be the first in America, at least, to see the final production model of the Vitorla that was the Hypersail previously and debuted at your show in Dallas. So you're the only show that's had them in America, and you're going to love what they've done with the final production model. So very excited for you to see this. I think you're going to love that.
Excellent.
And I'm very excited to see some of the traditional brands. I know that Klaus is also debuting a new amplifier. I can tip you off on that. I have some of his customers in my WhatsApp group, and he's coming out with a new, I think, a 4-box mono amplifier. Maybe I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm busting news here. I think he did it on his own little forum. But anyway, I don't know if it'll be ready for the Capital Audio Fest, but he might be talking about it. And it's going to be a cost no object type build, which he's always specialized in budget builds, high value at least. But yeah, that's something new. And I know that he's always said that this show room that he gets is his best sounding room. And he's got many, many decades of experience being at different shows. So kudos to that room. He's never going to give it up. And it's always a must-see room. If you haven't gone into an Odyssey room, the candle, if somebody can guess the amount of candles, I'll probably have a contest giveaway. You can guess the amount of candles in that room. But it's super cool and definitely worth checking out. MBL is usually right next to him, all the other big
two totally different environments. I mean,
night and day different.
Klaus is like, you have to listen to it this way. And he's a huge man, and he's right there. You got to do it that way. Where Greg Barron is laid back and hey, you want a glass of
Yeah.
wine? And he just puts a tape on and lets it.
You might be going out for a smoke or something.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's that's one thing about this show is all the different elements of speakers, from horns to
right.
electrostatics to point source box speakers, omnidirectional. You're going to see some of the best of the best. And then for cabinet material, you'll see everything from the
Right,
YG aluminums, the Magicos, to the
right,
stone-based Acoras and exotic
right.
finishes. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool open
Speaking of
baffles.
horns, yeah,
Mhm.
speaking of horns, we have the one new European horn company, and I don't know if I say it right, but it's with an O with a cross through
Oh
it,
yeah. Mhm.
O or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how to
Norwegian,
pronounce it.
yeah. And then also Avant-Garde is coming with a massive horn system.
Okay, so Angie's
So
coming with
what?
her.
So she's bringing a full blown. I think the new Model 3 is it?
Hmm.
But I mean, what it's done basically, it's by me opening up two rooms at the even. I've also then moved my guest speaker area out of the Washington. I turned that into that's going to be a massive Michael Hotzen slash Magnapan room,
Okay.
and then over I think it's in the Regency where Avant-Garde is going to be, and then the guest speakers. I mean, I'm trying it this year. They're going to be in the atrium next to the Potomac room where Vac and Akora is. So I'm going to block that off with pipe and drape, try and make the sound work over in that area for guest speakers so that I can have more large rooms. So hopefully it works. I'm going to try and make it work that way. So we'll see. I look forward to people's comments.
Well, I do have another first that you're going to have at your show. Obviously, Edgar Schwery with the Bach is always there.
Yep.
And he did demo for the first time his DRC squared. It's the desktop system. It's actually right in front of me right now.
Oh,
The best desktop system in the world, without question. He demoed this and debuted it at Expona. However, what he has come out with, and he's been working on it for over a year, but it will be at your show, is what's called Stratasonic. And it's an add-on for all the Bach products that allows you to now play Atmos material on 2 channels. And so any movies, any DVDs, any kind of Atmos, Spotify title stuff recordings with all those spatial cues will now be reproduced with your 2 speakers. And people can't believe it, but Andrew Quint from Absolute Sound already has the first demo, even before me. He compared it to his full Magico home theater, and he preferred it.
wow.
So that's another first of that I know of.
Okay.
And I
Great.
hope, I'm sure there's plenty others I'm going to hear about that are coming out with some new stuff. And as soon as you get
Sure.
those press releases, let me know. I'll post it on my YouTube channel in a post. And
Right.
like I said, anybody that's watching that's an exhibitor wants to do a Zoom with me and promote anything that they like. I like to promote as many companies as possible.
Okay.
This industry needs as much help as possible to
Yeah.
survive.